Prince Harry has exposed a lot about the royal family in his time, and his wife Meghan Markle is absolutely no exception to this treatment. From small things like the details of their engagement to how his partner royally pissed off the Princess of Wales, here are the biggest secrets Prince Harry exposed about the royal duchess. But first, do you agree with the negative attention Meghan receives, or do you feel sorry about all the shameless flack she gets? Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments, and let's jump right in. First up, we have Prince William and Kate Middleton shaming Meghan. In his tell-all spare, Harry brought up the situation where William and his wife Kate reportedly humiliated the Duchess by referring to her as a diverse biracial American actress. In an interview ahead of the book's drop, Harry stated that his brother and sister-in-law were never fond of Meghan from the start. More so, Harry detailed how William and Kate never thought he'd pursue someone like Meghan, who had a very successful career as per the book. Many even insisted that the prince married above his standards. Furthermore, it was also noted that Kate didn't like the significance Meghan held to the British public from the beginning. Apparently, the Princess of Wales felt overshadowed by Meghan's personality, as she's a well-known actress and activist in Hollywood. According to reports, Kate felt insecure in her presence, and this can even supposedly be proven in Meghan and Harry's Netflix docuseries Harry and Meghan. Naturally, Harry also discussed the physical brawl with his brother when they apparently fell out over Harry's marriage to Meghan. The shocking scene, which Harry explains resulted in visible injuries, is only one of many spare tales which seem to spark intense upset in the royal family. Before we jump into the next secret, leave a like on today's video to keep our channel growing strong. Just one click helps us here at Where Are They Now. Next in line is Meghan's cluelessness about Harry and William's scuffle. As we just broke down earlier, the allegedly physical beef stemmed from Meghan's then new involvement with the royals. However, it's stated that Meghan didn't actually know about this when it happened and only came to the discovery by accident. The prince alleged he and his beloved brother / arch nemesis once threw literal blows over the Duke and Duchess's marriage. This confrontation took place in 2019 inside his London home, according to the book, where Harry pens how William called Meghan difficult, rude, and abrasive. This upset Harry as he informed his brother of how he was simply parroting the press's narrative about his wife and expected more from William. Apparently, their heated exchange escalated into physical violence, where William supposedly grabbed Harry by the collar, ripping his necklace, and knocked him to the floor. He landed on the dog's bowl, which cracked under his back, the pieces cutting into him. Harry described being dazed and demanding William to leave, to which William asked Harry not to tell Meghan. Harry reluctantly kept his word and instead informed his therapist, but the Duchess eventually noticed the visible scrapes and bruises on Harry's back, forcing him to come clean. Quote, "She wasn't that surprised and wasn't all that angry, she was terribly sad." Another secret Harry dropped on us is Charles deciding that Meghan should not be invited to stay by the Queen's bedside. As for Sky News, Harry learned about the late Queen Elizabeth II's passing from BBC News. Harry depicted seeing this story on his phone after his plane landed with, "I checked the BBC webpage. My grandmother had died. My father was king. I put on a black tie, stepped off the plane into heavy drizzle." Harry claimed King Charles also told him that Meghan should not be joining their family as they grieved at the Balmoral estate where Elizabeth died. About this, the Duke wrote, "He told me I was welcome at Balmoral but without her. He started to explain his reasons, but they didn't make any sense and it was disrespectful as well. I did not tolerate it from him. He said, stammering, that he simply didn't want the place to be full of people. Nobody's wife was gonna go, not even Kate, he told me. So Meghan shouldn't either." Next up is Meghan misleading Oprah viewers about her and Kate's Flower Girl spat. This was quite the secret to dish about in his memoir, and Harry held nothing back on his own wife when he said she misled viewers with her interview by attempting to pin their argument all on Kate, when in reality, Meghan also upset her royal sis-in-law by making her baby brain comment. In full, Meghan apparently told Kate she must have baby brain because of her hormones. When Oprah sat down with the self-exiles in 2021, the former Suits star accused tabloids of falsely claiming she brought Kate to tears over their Flower Girls dress argument for the Sussexes' 2018 wedding. At the time of the explosive interview, Meghan was very vague about what Kate was upset over and kept alluding that the spat was all the princess's fault, resulting in Kate making amends that Meghan said she forgave. Quote, "She owned it and apologized, brought me flowers and a note, and did what I would do if I knew I hurt someone. I've forgiven her." Meghan also admitted that the feud hurt her feelings and made her cry. As for her part, Meghan couldn't stand the thought of being publicly portrayed as the issue, explaining, "What was hard to get over was being blamed for something that not only I didn't do, but that happened to me." Our next Meghan secret ties into the last, and that's Harry revealing exactly what went down between the Duchess and the princess during their fight. As opposed to what Meghan stated in earlier portions of this video, her hubby's tell-all painted a somewhat different but telling version of the cloud. clash. Harry wrote how Kate was actually upset about a discussion regarding the timing of the Flower Girl dresses and the wedding rehearsal. Spare described how the then Duchess of Cambridge shot Meghan a text the week of her wedding with an issue regarding Princess Charlotte's gown, which she was meant to don while being a royal flower girl for their ceremony. According to Harry, the couture French dresses were hand-sewn according to the bridesmaids' measurements, so naturally they would have needed a few tweaks. Meghan reportedly told Kate to bring Charlotte for a quick alteration, where a tailor was awaiting to do the same for the other bridesmaids' dresses. However, as per Spare, this idea was supposedly not sufficient for Kate, who then arranged a time for her and Meghan to chit-chat. Allegedly, Kate informed Meghan that Charlotte's dress didn't fit her at all, adding that the little princess burst into tears upon trying it on. When Meghan relayed the standby alteration message to Kate again, Harry described Kate telling Meghan the dresses needed to be completely remade. This is where the baby brain remark came into play, according to the memoir, a comment supposedly made a little over a month after Kate birthed Prince Louis. While Kate eventually came around to visiting the tailor with Charlotte, Harry later penned how he discovered his bride crying on the floor that day. The following day, Kate reportedly brought flowers and a card and apologized to Meghan. According to the prince, Meghan was reprimanded for her comment and was ridiculed how she wasn't close enough to Kate to say that. In turn, Meghan caught offense from the telling off and ended up crying. Another huge piece of explosive information recently dropped was Harry's relationship with Meghan being exposed by Princess Eugenie. Meghan and Harry captured the entire world's eyes when news of the romantic involvement broke wind. And the culprit behind the leak? Princess Eugenie, according to the couple's biography, Finding Freedom. According to the writers, Eugenie let the cat out of the bag to disclose Harry and Meghan's relationship long before the spouses made it publicly official. Eugenie and Harry share a tight bond, and in the book, a specific occasion is cited where Harry and Meghan were accompanied by Eugenie and her now husband Jack at a Toronto Halloween party. Apparently, Harry received a phone call informing him that he and Meghan's relationship would be made public in the press, and that the princess and Prince Andrew's staffers at the time were the ones who leaked the secret to reporters. In our top 3 secrets exposed, we have Meghan's engagement to Harry, which reportedly caused a stir between the Duke and William. As per E! News, upon Harry informing William that he planned to propose to Meghan, his brother warned him that their relationship was moving too quickly too soon to become engaged. Harry penned how William's phrase of American actress always sounded comparable to convicted felon. Harry also detailed how William warned the couple not to marry at St. Paul's Cathedral, where their mother and father got married, nor Westminster Abbey, where he and Kate wed. In our top 2 secrets is how the couple's engagement proposal actually went down. Now, this engagement story has seen many changes over time, one being the main events that took place, and Harry was naturally the one to dish it all in their 2022 limited docuseries. The Duke and Duchess took a blast of the past to revisit the night Harry proposed and detailed the entire night, with Harry explaining in a sit-down interview, "I wanted to do it earlier because I had to ask permission from my grandmother. I couldn't do it outside of the UK. I did pop a bottle of champagne while she was greasing the chicken, and that kinda slightly gave the game away. She was like, 'You don't drink champagne, what's the occasion?' And then in the North Garden, being overlooked by the staff flats, I got 15 of those electric candles." A video of Meghan excitedly calling her friend for the surprise played after, where she shared, "He's down on one knee and I was like, yes, we were so joyful and excited, like, we're doing this." Even more, the spouses chatted about their milestone right after the announcement for their engagement went public in Kensington Palace's Sunken Gardens in November 2017. Meghan alleged in an interview with BBC's Michelle Hussein about how the engagement was rehearsed though. For this, Meghan broke down how she was told to show off her ring, a piece which features 2 diamonds from Princess Diana's collection, finalizing with, "My point is because they didn't want, we were never allowed to tell our story. That is consistent until now." And finally, our top secret is Harry's admission that the spouse's secret wedding claim was inaccurate. To be fair, this is more of a shared secret than just Harry's, and a bit older on the timeline scale, however it's still pretty big, so let's break it down. The duo admitted in a wild interview that their low-key wedding, revealed in their explosive Oprah interview, didn't actually happen the way it was initially described. Following the couple's public marriage certificates exposing the claims as invalid, a royal spokesman clarified to publications that Meghan and Harry did their vow exchange, but it wasn't an official ceremony. A Daily Beast provided statement reads, "The couple exchanged personal vows a few days before their official/legal wedding on May 19th. This came after the former Suits star relayed in interview footage, 3 days before our wedding we got married. No one knows that. The vows that we have framed in our room are just the 2 of us in our backyard with the Archbishop of Canterbury." Harry even co-signed this with "just the 3 of us." However, the Sun was quick to dispel their claims by obtaining their marriage license from the General Register's office then, then, which eventually confirmed their legal wedding date to be May 19th, 2018.
Since the first 3 episodes aired of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's Netflix documentary, the couple has faced a wave of backlash over some of the claims they've made about Meghan adjusting to royal life and their struggles with the family's acceptance of Meghan in general. With the other 3 episodes out now, more is sure to come, so let's talk about some of the claims that have been disputed so far. I'm Adam Andrews with Where Are They Now, and let's jump into it. Starting with even the trailer for the documentary itself, some apparent lies were already called out. Prince Harry claimed lies were told to protect his brother, Prince William, and suggested the couple, Harry and Meghan, were victims of institutional gaslighting. In response to that, Dickie Arbiter, who served Queen Elizabeth from 1988 to 2000, has debunked some of the allegations made by the couple and noted the couple are sending mixed messages saying, quote, "There are more holes in their story than a colander," which, to be lighthearted for a moment, is honestly a hilarious way of putting it. Dickie also had issue though when the Duchess of Sussex also revealed that their security was being pulled. Dickie gave a pretty good explanation, saying that was due to the couple moving to the United States and taxpayers won't pay for them to live in America, which I can't really argue with that one. That makes a lot of sense. In the documentary, Meghan also alleged that Kensington Palace advised her to not invite her niece, Ashley Hale, to her wedding. Ashley is the daughter of Meghan's half-sister Samantha Markle, who has had fallings out with the Duchess after the huge Oprah Winfrey interview that Harry and Meghan did back in March of 2021. Speaking on this claim though, a source close to the royal family told 9honey, quote, "We never gave any advice, steer, or guidance on who of her family or friends should or shouldn't come to her wedding." Another insider added, "Meghan didn't want the media to know about Ashley. No one on earth would have said don't invite family to the wedding. That's a complete and utter lie. We wanted more family there to make it look less weird for her." On the topic of this though, if you thought Piers Morgan would not be involved in this video, then you should have known better. Joining Piers on his show to discuss the first 3 episodes of the documentary was Sunday Times editor Roya Nika and her former royal correspondent Michael Cole. After Piers asked Roya for the truth about Meghan's claim, Roya replied, "That was not the account that 2 people who worked very closest with Meghan and Harry told me, both of whom had very specific recollections of that conversation with Meghan." The editor told Piers that it was Meghan who told the palace she didn't want her niece to attend the wedding to avoid exposing her to media scrutiny. At another point, the Duchess of Sussex claimed that she received no training when entering into the royal family. She compared it to the Princess Diaries, saying, quote, "Joining this family, I knew that there was a protocol for how things were done. And do you remember that old movie The Princess Diaries with Anne Hathaway? There's no class and some person who goes sit like this, cross your legs like this, use this fork, don't do this, curtsy then, wear this kind of hat. It doesn't happen, so I needed to learn a lot." Which, first of all, I kinda hate that she said The Princess Diaries is old because now I feel old. That movie came out in 2001, more than 20 years ago. I hate everything. But back to the point of the claim of no training. An insider has since disputed Meghan's claim, telling 9honey again, and they revealed that Meghan was given a 30-point dossier by Prince Harry's then private security, Ed Lane Fox, which included various experts who could help Meghan on various aspects of life, including the Constitution, ladies-in-waiting, fashion, public life, and other things. The claims by Meghan follow allegations that Meghan rejected Queen Elizabeth's offer to be guided by Sophie, the Countess of Wessex. Sophie is another member of the royal family that did not come from royalty herself. The book, Elizabeth: An Intimate Portrait by Giles Brandreth, who is a friend of the royal family, says, quote, "The Queen, who of course had seen it all before, understood that Harry's girl might find adjusting to royal life challenging to begin with, as she put it. To help Meghan, the Queen suggested that her daughter-in-law, Sophie Wessex, would be an ideal mentor. And the Queen even apparently said, quote, "Sophie can help show you the ropes." The author continued on writing that Meghan apparently made it very clear that she did not need help as she had Harry. On top of that, the Duchess reportedly also rejected advice from Camilla, who was the Duchess of Cornwall at that time. So it seems that Meghan didn't accept the help that was offered, if it was actually offered at all, which I think it probably was. Viewers also spotted another problem with Harry and Meghan's recollection of their first meeting. Harry revealed in the first episode how he met Meghan, but it appeared to be contradictory to past versions of that story, and on top of that, fans spotted issues with the pair's new tale of his proposal as well. In a previous interview about their engagement in 2017, Harry claimed that he had proposed to the Duchess in the kitchen on a standard, typical night in their cottage, but in the new series, Harry says he proposed in a candlelit garden. At yet another point in the documentary, Harry claims he was blocked from seeing the Queen, which goes against what he told Oprah Winfrey during the 2021 interview. During that interview, Harry said, quote, "She said I have no plans for the week, why don't you come up and we'll have tea, stay the night, you and Meghan." With Meghan adding that they were on their way to Heathrow Airport and an urgent message came through saying that the Queen was busy, which was confirmed by the Queen herself, who told Harry she didn't know that she was supposed to be busy when Harry called her. Now in the second installment, Meghan has revealed why she opted for a trio of brightly colored outfits during the royal couple's farewell tour of the UK. Speaking in episode 5, Meghan said, "Until that last week in the UK, I rarely wore color and I never wanted to upstage or ruffle any feathers, so I tried to blend in. But I wore a lot of color that week. I felt, well, let's just look like a rainbow." But there are tons of photographs taken from many different royal outings over the years that prove that Meghan regularly wore many bright colors all the time. This is kind of a weird one. I don't know why anyone would lie about that. It's just bright colors. Kind of strange. There was also another point where Harry and Meghan spoke about being moved into Nottingham Cottage, a house in the grounds of Kensington Palace in London, which had previously been where Prince William and Princess Kate lived with Prince George. Speaking on this point, he said, "As far as people were concerned, we were living in a palace, but we were living in a cottage on palace grounds." For this one, I gotta say, one, you're living on the grounds of a palace, so shut up, you can't really complain about anything here. But two, the pair seemed to forget that before they moved in, this cottage was Prince William and Kate Middleton's place when they had their firstborn son before moving in October 23rd to apartment 1A in Kensington Palace. It's not like a crappy place by any stretch of the imagination, so this one just seems kind of meh. I don't really like it. A lot of these points do not look good for the couple, and it does not help their situation, but they were going to receive backlash no matter what they did or said, and some people have gone to great lengths to try and find something to be upset about. For example, another kind of ridiculous criticism of the couple also came about from the documentary. People on the internet are claiming that the setting of the documentary's interviews wasn't actually at their home, and was instead at a bigger, more costly $33 million mansion, which is currently on the market located near the Sussex residence. Internet sleuths who care way too much about these things noticed that the photos of the property on the real estate page were the same as the backgrounds in some of the documentary's scenes. Okay, so let's entertain this criticism and ask ourselves, why would a different house have been used? Well, outside of the possibility that it was actually their house, one, the couple may have wanted to come across in a more lavish manner, therefore, by showing a property that had more opulence, it would have shown that they were living comfortably. If you think that makes them fake, then that's fair, but no one in the royal family isn't. But the second point, the internet sleuths who looked up all this information kind of proved the fact that it could simply have been due to security concerns. The couple may not have wanted to disclose their exact location, as well as the contents and layout of their own home to the whole world. But if we need a third point could be, it could have totally just been a production choice made for a variety of factors that have nothing to do with Harry and Meghan. Whatever the reason is, people on social media made their position very clear that they think the couple was trying to put on a persona that did not reflect their actual lives. I will agree that it doesn't help their situation, obviously, but I don't know about that one. The thing with this story is that the people who are longtime fans of the royal family absolutely hate Meghan, and they are quick to fight any claims she makes. Never once have I heard a royal family supporter agree with anything that Meghan says. But on the other hand, people who support Meghan or just don't like the idea of the royal family do the complete opposite, believing most of what Meghan says without even questioning it. And no matter your opinion, you are bound to run into large groups of people who will fight tooth and nail to disagree with you, no matter what. And I can already see the comments now who are going to disagree with that statement itself. Some comments about the topics that I have seen are just way too upset about the whole thing, in my opinion. This guy James wrote, "Prince Harry is an absolute embarrassment to the royal family. Him and Meghan should be stripped of any titles they have. The Queen would be devastated about the lies and deceit coming from the pair of them." Coming in at number 10, fits the mold. Alright, so I think most of us were expecting to hear about some of the ingrained biases that members of the royal family grow to have. In the first episode of the series, Prince Harry revealed that there is a temptation in royal family to marry someone who, quote, fits the mold. And I think most of us are aware of this kind of mentality for the royal family, and honestly, on a more laid-back scale, this is prevalent in most families in the world. There is an expectation to find a significant other who meets a standard that the rest of your family probably instilled in you. The only thing is that, for the royal family, breaking that mold is 1, very easy to do, and 2, comes with harsh backlash. Prince Harry said, quote, I think for many people in the family, especially the men, there can be a temptation or an urge to marry someone who would fit the mold rather than someone you are perhaps destined to be with. And in my opinion, while most of us would agree that there is absolutely nothing actually wrong with Meghan, she is successful, beautiful, respectful, and seems like an incredibly lovely person, most of that has been undercut by the color of her skin, her choice of profession, and the country she comes from. It's just the truth. Prince Harry added to finish this point that, quote, the difference between making decisions with your head or your heart, and my mum certainly made most of her decisions from her heart. I am my mother's son. And coming in at number 9, learning from the past. Talking about his parents, in episode 2 of the series, Harry revealed that both he and Meghan, who were both children of divorce, didn't want to make the same mistakes as their parents, which is something a lot of children of divorce and messy marriages can relate to. Harry said, quote, what's most important for the two of us is to make sure that we don't repeat the same mistakes that perhaps our parents made. I think most kids who are the product of divorced parents have a lot in common, no matter what your background is. Being pulled from one place to another, or maybe your parents are competitive, or you're in one place longer than you want to be in. You're in another place less than you want to be. There's all sorts of pieces to that. And he is definitely not wrong. As an example, my parents are split up, and I find it a bit harder to relate to people whose parents have stayed together. You also observe your parents, and over time you can understand and learn the ways they failed their marriages, and sometimes the ways they did some things right. The fear of following in those negative footsteps is a huge relatable factor that I think probably makes Harry and Meghan's relationship stronger than some others in the family who are afraid to lean into their feelings like that. Number 8, unconscious bias. Okay, we've been pretty heavy on this list so far, but it's important because this whole thing is basically love versus duty versus hundreds of years of both conscious and unconscious biases. And the Duke spoke on this quite a bit. He said, quote, in this family, sometimes you're part of the problem rather than part of the solution, and there is a huge level of unconscious bias. The thing with unconscious bias is that it's actually no one's fault, but once it's been pointed out or identified within yourself, you then need to make it right. Now, a lot of us who have already learned better or just knew better from the start will jump straight to a point of anger about the biases that are so prevalent in the royal family, but there is also a level of these people are incredibly sheltered and closed off. The royals are kind of in a world of their own. It's not really okay, and it's a little archaic, but it is the truth. Harry goes on to say, quote, it's education, it's awareness, and it's a constant work in progress for everyone, including me. He then went on to talk about his past controversy when he dressed up as a member of the World War II National Socialist German Workers' Party. Now you know who I'm talking about when I say that, right? Because YouTube won't actually let me say their usual name. Just want to make that clear. We know who we're talking about. Harry dressed up like this at a costume-themed party back in 2005, and he said it's, quote, one of the biggest mistakes of my life. He added that, quote, I felt so ashamed afterwards. And then he explained how he met with survivors and rabbis in order to educate himself on his wrongdoings. Now that's just an example of how the royal family can be out of touch with reality just a little bit. Number 7, spies in the backyard. During the second episode of the series, Meghan revealed that paparazzi actually paid her neighbors in Toronto to spy on her. Meghan revealed that when the news broke of her relationship with Harry back in 2016, her neighbors in Toronto were paid by members of the press to plant a camera in her backyard. She said, quote, it felt like all of the UK media descended upon Toronto. My house was just surrounded, just men sitting in their cars all the time, waiting for me to do anything. See, Meghan, being a celebrity already, has dealt with the press before, but the press surrounding the royal family, they're on a whole different level. And I'm sure the ridiculous controversy of the situation just brought it all to another level on top of that. She continued on, saying, quote, my neighbors texted me saying they're knocking on everyone's door, they're trying to find you. They had paid certain neighbors to put a live stream camera into my backyard. Suddenly, it was like everything about my life was getting so much more insular. All the curtains were pulled, all the blinds were pulled. It was scary. And that element of fear plays perfectly into this next point. Number 6, protection? but why? A little bit later in the second episode, Prince Harry claimed that members of the royal family asked why Meghan should get special treatment and be protected when the two of them had issue with the actions of the British press, descending on her home, neighbors, and privacy. But not only that, the headlines being pumped out about the couple and Meghan specifically were not just vicious, but were also pretty damn racist. The couple referenced a Daily Mail newspaper headline from 2016 that said, and I quote here, "Harry's girl is almost, in brackets, straight out of Compton," which I could go on a 13-minute rant about that on its own. Harry said that when they brought their concerns to the family, quote, "the direction from the palace was don't say anything." He added, quote, "But what people need to understand is, as far as a lot of the family were concerned, everything that she was being put through, they had been put through as well. So, it was almost like a rite of passage." He said that the members of the royal family were like, quote, "My wife had to go through that, so why should your girlfriend be treated any differently? Why should you get special treatment? Why should she be protected?" And as Harry correctly responded to that, quote, "The difference here is the race element. Something pretty much all the other members of the royal family cannot relate to." Number 5. Formality. Stepping away from that issue for a moment, also in episode 2, the Duchess talked about her first meeting with Harry's brother, Prince William, and his wife, Kate. Meghan revealed that the formality that we see presented to the public every day by the royal family is not just an outward show, but it even carries over behind closed doors as well, which is another example of the reality of royal life. Speaking about her meeting with Kate, Meghan said, quote, "I met her for the first time, they came over for dinner, and I remember I was in ripped jeans and I was barefoot. I was a hugger, I've always been a hugger, but I didn't realize that this is really jarring for a lot of Brits." Now, I should say, I am actually British. I was born there and I came here at a young age. All of my family is British, but hugging is not jarring for us. Like, I want to be clear, British people like a hug as much as the next person. I love hugs. What I will admit here is that there is some kind of ingrained awkwardness, and especially when dealing with the formality of a royal. A hug is probably incredibly out of place for most of them. This segment continued on with footage of Kate and William walking alongside each other with Meghan's voice saying, quote, "I started to understand very quickly that the formality on the outside carried through on the inside." Now, I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but for someone on the outside not accustomed to the royal life, putting on this display of royalty for the cameras and the people can probably be very exhausting. And then learning that for the rest of the family, it isn't really a display at all. That would probably be a bit disarming. Number 4. Actor. But going back to the issues that the family had with Meghan, still in episode 2, Harry explained that Meghan's career as an actress skewed the judgment of his family, meaning her choice of profession made most of his family believe that the relationship wouldn't last that long. He said, quote, "I remember my family first meeting her and being incredibly impressed. Some of them didn't quite know what to do with themselves, but then the Duke jokingly added, I think they were surprised, maybe surprised that a ginger could land such a beautiful, intelligent woman. Then he jumped back to the reality of the situation, saying, quote, "The fact that I was dating an American actress was probably what clouded their judgment more than anything else at the beginning. Oh, she's an actress, this won't last." Number 3. Rehearsed. Now this next part is something I just assumed happened, but right at the start of episode 3, Meghan spoke about the BBC engagement interview that the couple did, and she said it was a, quote, "orchestrated reality show." She explained how the interview itself was pretty much pre-planned. She said, quote, "It was rehearsed, we did the thing out with the press, then we went right inside, took the coat off, and did the interview. So it's all in that same moment." When she was asked if the couple were prepped on how the interview would play out, she continued, "Yeah, but also like, then there'll be a moment when they'll want to see the ring, so show the ring. We weren't allowed to tell our story because they didn't want it," she added. Which is the interesting part, honestly. I think a rehearsed interview could be expected at the very least. Like, if I married a royal, I would just know that that kind of thing comes with the territory. But to have to leave out the things you do want to talk about does feel wrong. That's where you can see the narrative control that was in place. Number 2. Tabloid attack. Now, another side to that narrative control comes into play when we talk about negative press. Controlling what the family says is one thing, and that part is relatively understandable when dealing with what is essentially a business that thrives off public opinion. But that also comes with being able to control the news. And in the 3rd episode, the Duchess claimed that salacious stories were planted in the press in the lead up to her wedding to Harry in 2018. And it's very true that during that time, every tabloid you saw had some wild claim about Meghan Meghan and Harry. She said that, quote, "We were playing whack-a-mole every day. Every day it was like, wait, another one popped up? Wait, stop. Another story. Constant." In the episode, they showed headlines like, quote, "related to serial killer," along with references to a X and Meghan went on saying, quote, "They were going through the woodwork and pulling people out to create and plant the most salacious stories that they could." I think she is talking about the press themselves, but the planting of stories part is pretty clearly talking about a play from the palace itself. And in at number 1 is a secret list. To close out this list on a more cute note, I didn't want to be so negative the whole time. Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, had a little reminiscing about early on in their relationship during episode 1 of the series, and they talked about how Harry had this not so little, quote, extensive list of things that he would be looking for in a girlfriend, and I guess eventual wife. Meghan seemed to think that this was adorable, but I mean, she passed the test, so of course she would think that. In the episode, she jokingly and kind of adorably said how, quote, he had a list apparently of what he was looking for, an extensive list, with Harry jumping on to add, "I'm not showing you the list." It was kinda cute, I'm not gonna lie.
Meghan Markle was reportedly in London when the former Queen of England passed away. However, most recent reports state that she was actually disinvited from Elizabeth's bedside in her final few hours. I'm your host Michaela, let's jump right in. Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex, is an American member of the British royal family and a former actress, due to her marriage to the Duke of Sussex, Prince Harry. While she was active as an actress, her most notable portrayal is linked to her starring role in Suits as Rachel Zane. Aside from small screen works, Meghan also works as a blogger and once served as an editor-in-chief for the lifestyle brand The Tig before discontinuing in April 2017. Meghan was appointed as a World Vision Canada Global Ambassador in 2016 and has worked as a direct advocate for gender equality and the empowerment of women alongside the United Nations entity. She made her marriage to Prince Harry official in a lavish 2018 ceremony guested by numerous celebrities around the world. Following their wedding, Meghan was titled Duchess of Sussex as part of the royals. However, in 2020, the couple stepped down as senior members and relocated to California. Born Rachel Meghan Markle on August 4th, 1981, is the mixed-race current Duchess. Her father is a Caucasian-Irish Emmy-winning lighting director named Thomas W. Markle, while her mother is an African-American therapist and yoga instructor named Doria Radlin. Meghan also has a stepsister from Thomas's side of the family. Once Thomas and Doria were divorced, Meghan spent a lot of time with her father on sets of Married with Children. As a child, Meghan attended the Hollywood Little Red Schoolhouse and later went on to study at an all-girls independent Roman Catholic secondary school in LA called Immaculate Heart High. For university, Meghan was admitted into Northwestern in Illinois, where she graduated with double majors in international studies and theater in 2003. After her completion, Meghan worked as a U.S. Embassy intern in Buenos Aires. Time magazine added Meghan to their 100 most influential people in the world list in 2016. Meghan's romantic affairs prior to Harry started with producer Trevor Ingleson in 2004. These two tied the knot on September 10, 2011, but eventually split in August 2013 after 20 months. The year after, Meghan began seeing restaurateur and Canadian celebrity chef Corey Vitiello. However, their fling only remained intact until 2016. As per reports, Meghan acquainted herself with Harry in London, where she visited to watch her friend and sports star Serena Williams play in June 2016. Soon after, the pair made it official and sparked headlines once their engagement was announced. Meghan became Google's most searched personalities in 2016, and the pair eventually leveled up to fiancé status officially on November 27, 2017. In line with Meghan's engagement to Harry, she retired as an actor. Of course, the twosomes' marriage followed shortly after, on May 19, 2018 to be exact. The ceremony took place at St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle with a guest list of over 600 people, including the Queen and additional family royals of importance. In May of the next year, Meghan and Harry became parents, welcoming their firstborn Archie, and then again with their daughter Lilibet in 2021. Yet, if we rewind a bit, in January 2020 we saw Meghan and Harry's announcement of stepping down from their senior member roles in the royal family. This decision meant the pair would be forced to divide their time between the UK and North America. When Meghan spoke to Oprah Winfrey in 2021, there were allegations from the Duchess about racism against the British royal household, and Meghan even made the admission that she nearly ended her life while she was directly a part of the British royalty. Thankfully, Meghan and Harry have found a balance in settling in Riven Rock, California presently. Becoming an actress growing up brought about some difficulties for Meghan, according to the Duchess. Due to her mixed-race upbringing, she hinted that being an actress was not her ideal choice for the mostly label-driven industry where roles are usually given with strict ethnic descriptions. Nevertheless, one of Meghan's pals showed one of her college student films to a manager who broke Meghan into the entertainment industry. Yet, Meghan originally found work difficult to seek because of her ethnicity, as she often described being not black nor white enough to snag one. Eventually though, Meghan ended up bagging an episode appearance for her General Hospital role in 2002. Since then, Meghan has obtained many TV show features, but her official breakout as an actor came with Suits in 2011, which ran for 7 seasons from 2011 to 2017. Her prominence only climbed higher in Hollywood when Meghan snagged other small screen works for Fringe, CSI New York, Cuts, Deal or No Deal, 90210, Without a Trace, Knight Rider, and CSI Miami. Her most successful big screen roles were for the 2010 film Remember Me and the 2011 movie Horrible Bosses. If you're enjoying today's WATN, help our channel grow by subscribing. Now, let's discuss where Meghan actually was when the Queen passed and how it relates to what we currently know. As per reports, Meghan's absence wasn't a mistake, especially after finding out that Prince Harry arrived by himself when he went to visit his late grandmother. Apparently, Meghan was not invited to be by her side, and even more, royal expert Katie Nicholl detailed that the Duchess understood she was not included when Harry was informed that Elizabeth was on her deathbed, equating to why he was solo for the trip and visit. This hasn't stopped speculations, however. Some assume Meghan bowed out of respect for her husband, but other sources are concluding that this decision was made by higher powers in the royal family and Meghan had no say in it. Regardless though, expert Katie also explained that Meghan had agreed to visit the castle at another point in time, as she was already stationed in London for work-related matters and a since-cancelled event prior to the late Queen's death. Like Meghan, Kate Middleton was not in the company of Prince William in Scotland, but she and William clarified that it was because she had to stay back with their 3 children at Windsor Castle. Still, now there are talks about Meghan possibly not being present for the funeral. Previous British public affairs official Shannon Felton Spence had broken down that the Duke and Duchess were already traveling before the monarchy lost their ruler. But Meghan could very well return to California before the service to be with her 2 children as well. Shannon has stated on this topic, Harry will likely stay in the UK until the funeral. I can't imagine Meghan won't attend, but again, from a human perspective, Meghan was expecting to leave the kids for 6 days, not weeks, so may not be possible for her to stay the whole time. In a better turn of events though, both Harry and Meghan joined the remainder of the royal family in attendance to greet Elizabeth's coffin on Tuesday at Buckingham Palace. Before her passing, Elizabeth was publicly spotted that same day, appointing the UK's newest Prime Minister, Liz Truss. By the afternoon, the minister had tweeted a response to the palace's statement regarding the Queen's health with, "The whole country will be deeply concerned by the news from Buckingham Palace this lunchtime. My thoughts and the thoughts of people across our United Kingdom are with Her Majesty the Queen and her family at this time." As Elizabeth's body arrived in Scotland, the Sussex were in attendance with William, Kate, King Charles III, and freshly appointed Queen Consort Camilla. This marked the couple's first time publicly appearing with William and Kate since March 2020, when pictures of them together were taken for that year's Commonwealth Day. Rumors that Meghan's absence in Scotland was originally due to Kate's decision to stay arose from their heavily publicized sighting. But a Page 6 insider dished that William had given the extended invite to his estranged brother and his wife. A royal source expressed their gratefulness for both parties being able to set their differences aside for the sake of the former queen. While there, the royal group viewed the floral tributes and stopped to thank the public in attendance for their support. Meghan herself was quite the social butterfly here, as she chatted with many people, asking them their names and even agreeing to a requested hug from one. And yet, her positivity was dulled by one particular occurrence during the occasion. When she was given a bouquet of flowers by the crowd, one aide attempted to grab them from her to lay at the memorial, but Meghan politely declined by thanking them and requesting to take them over herself. However, there was another senior aide who followed Meghan around when she received additional flowers. This one insisted on taking them, and Meghan ended up obliging. A Twitter user sparked commotion on the app when they posted both interactions on their account with the caption, "The big guns had to step in when Meghan refused to let go of the flowers the first aide tried to take from her, as she herself wanted to walk them over to the other tributes." Naturally, fans on Twitter were pretty divided over the situation. Some pointed out the fact that it was potentially protocol that the royals immediately hand off the flower to the aides, while others described Meghan's gesture as sweet, among other things. In other news, following Elizabeth's death, the former Prince Charles has become king, and his wife Camilla is now the Queen Consort. William and Kate now hold the titles of Duke and Duchess of Cornwall and Cambridge, with future possibilities of becoming the Prince and Princess of Wales. And little Archie and Lilibet from parents Meghan and Harry have now been deemed Prince and Princess because of their grandfather's ascension to the throne. However, Meghan and Harry will most likely not receive any new additions to their current titles. This could be due to their non-use of HRH designations when they step back as senior royals. They still do hold onto their Duke and Duchess titles though, but their kids are technically technically now a prince and princess regardless. Due to the 1971 changes King George V created from their original traditions of automatic rights with the ascension of a new monarch, the updated protocols in place established that the children and grandchildren granted by the sovereign are automatically entitled to either the Royal Highness or Prince and Princess titles. When Archie and Lilibet were born, they were only the great-grandchildren of a sovereign, which means they had no royal titles. Still, there is a possibility that King Charles can revoke the newfound titles of his grandchildren during his ruling. When Meghan had spoken with Oprah, as aforementioned, she explained that the royal family had spoken about adjusting the rules in order to keep Archie from adopting his princely title. In addition to this, Meghan admitted that while she was pregnant with Archie, it was the family's decision not to grant him his HRH and prince positions, which had direct connections to the concerning decision of how quote dark the baby's skin would be at the time. There's also the additional possibility that Archie's parents will choose not to grant the newest titles to Archie and their daughter Lilibet, just like other royals Princess Anne and Prince Edward have previously done with their own children.